Say now. All right, here we go. You ready to go?
You on there, I dare you. You on there, I dare you.
Say now. All right. What's up, world? It's your boy, Coach EV, aka EV the Geeker, and welcome to a special edition of Talking Hoops in the SIP, a boys and girls edition. I'd like to welcome my guys from both the boys and girls. We all doing it one today. I have my guy Lavelle Shoes Johnson. What up, Shoes?
What's up, world?
And then I got my guy from Mississippi Play Sports, Eddie Young.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
And then we have from the DC Bucks Elite, Cordarius Jones.
How you doing, Coach?
Well, hey, listen, it's when we first started, we were talking about, man, can we get through the season? And now we have pretty much gotten through the season. A shout out to the Mississippi High School Association. A lot of speculation early on that they was going to shut it down, but they figured a way to keep that, they kept it going. And shout out to all the school districts and school systems all over the state. They found a way to, keep the things done as safe as possible. We've had a COVID-19 year. Let's talk a little bit about it. We usually, when we talk, some teams and stuff, let's talk about it together. What have been some of the stories, and maybe talk about some of the stories and how COVID-19 kind of has affected you guys. And then some of the stories, the worst or best stories you've heard from some schools. So we'll start with you, the easy one, because I know you quick on your feet.
Yeah, obviously, we're definitely living in some traumatic times, and it's been adjustment for everyone. I know. I'm sure Shoes. I think Shoes and I was talking about this the other night at the gym. I think Shoes was headed to do a game and got all the way about 5 or 10 minutes from the gym and had to turn around. I can't tell you. I don't know about you, Cordarius, but man, I've been on the road 3 or 4 times, and 15, 20 minutes out, and you get word that the game has been canceled. So we're definitely living in some unprecedented times, man. It's just about us being able to adjust. But like you said, I think we're starting to kind of get it under control. With me in the rankings, I know his Shoes. I know he kind of maybe took some flack from some of the JPS schools initially when he put his rankings out, because a lot like myself, with teams who hadn't played as many games, you hadn't had the chance to see them. For me, I know that there's some teams who I have ranked a little bit higher in terms of rankings and stuff, because maybe people don't know, like Germantown had some issues early on with COVID. There's some teams who have played without some of their better players. So all of that makes a huge difference, man. I'm just hoping that, like you say, we're about 3 weeks removed from finishing this season. So it'd be really nice to kind of see teams be able to finish the season, and we can kind of have our better kids on the floor and better teams on the floor. I know I was talking with Coach Felton last week, and I think Clinton just missed. I think they had the COVID test a day after the initial test results came back. Clinton may not have had an opportunity to play in the Clinton girls may not have had an opportunity to play in the district tournament. So I know there's teams who are uneasy because, at this particular point, I think the High School Activities Association is doing exactly like the boys, where if you test positive, you got to go into quarantine, and you're basically eliminated from an opportunity to win a state championship. And that's unfortunate for some of the senior ridden teams that's got a lot of seniors and stuff on their roster. So, for all of us, we want to see the best teams play and the best players on the floor. And we're hoping that COVID get out of the way for these next few weeks. And, there's not any issues with that. So, That's pretty much all I got. I know it's affected everyone in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Some people tragically, and things like that. So, but that's pretty much my take on COVID. So I'll pass it over to Shoes or Coach Evie. Did you have anything? Jump in on that.
You know,
Um,
I'll
go
say
ahead.
this before Shoes jump in. We know what's happened. One of the bigger schools, a school I coached at last year, Murrah, 6A runner up, basically COVID knocked them out of the playoffs. And, and so that was one of the bigger schools so far uh, that has happened to. And to be honest with you, and people may not like this, what I'm going to say, but at this point of the season, if and I know people can this is a touchy subject for some people and for all of us, but at this point, for the kids' sake, in my opinion, I don't know if you're not feeling well, I'm just telling you to stay at home. I don't want to this season means a lot, and I know some people can twist it and say, well, even your kids' health is more important. Well, we got to be honest about it. The percentages are in the favor. If we just look at the percentages, 99% of the people, first of all, don't get COVID. Then the other percentage is 99% recover. So there, I know there's been a lot of deaths and a lot of things, and I've had some things hit my own family. So I'm sensitive to it, but I guess on the other side, taking these kids last year, especially these seniors, never getting a chance to go out on their own terms, that's tough too. So that's kind of my thought on the Shoes. What's your thoughts? As we talk about it a little further.
My biggest thing is just to, as we move forward, hopefully, like Eddie said, we can get the rest of the season in because the MHSA has mandated that at this point, it's just like in football. I don't know if any of you all follow football a lot. As the football playoffs went on, you had teams who fell by the wayside because they had a COVID quarantine come up in the middle of the playoffs. And when you get that quarantine at this point, it's really nothing for you to do but and you fall by the wayside and the next team moves on. And, I'm just hoping that, we, like Ed said, we get to see the teams that play it out on the court. Everybody gets to play. Everybody can avoid a quarantine. I mean, you're talking about Murrah. Pedal is another 6A team that's been shut down for the playoffs. They're out. Florence had to actually forfeit their semifinal game in their region last night, but they'll get to play Friday night. The Friday night game will pass their quarantine date. So now they've been relegated to no better than a 3 seed out of their region, which is going to throw a haymaker to the 4A playoffs, with them falling to a 3 seed and juggling the brackets up. And Murrah out. Madison won Central moved in, and it's just been like you said, it's tumultuous times, and I'm just hopeful that we can avoid any more. And I know that's really wishful thinking. Probably it's going, being realistic, it's probably going to be somebody else after we get into the playoffs. It's going to have to fall the game. They're going to have to fall out. But hopefully, wishful thinking is that everybody that everybody can form their own little bubble, stay healthy. From this point on, play it out, and we can get a really good playoff in where we get to see the top teams battle it out without someone falling by the wayside because of COVID. That's my biggest thought and fear for the rest of this season, getting the rest of the season in. Because as everybody know, we had a plethora of teams going through COVID shutdown in the metro area just in the last week or two. Raymond forfeited 2 games. That was Florence for last night. Allen forfeited 2 games. I think Ridgeland was on a shutdown for a while. We've had some girls teams I think going to shut down also. So like you said, Clinton girls just made the deadline. So it's a It's the rabbit got the gun, guys. The rabbit got the gun. We just gotta hope we can survive. Next.
Or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, everybody basically said how basically everybody feel about it. You know, I feel like it do need to be some kind of bubble or some start to be formed at these schools, kind of keep these kids out of close contact with maybe the other student body or something. I don't know what they can do, but it got to be some kind of plan in effect instead of you know, going to school every day like regular. If some schools is not offering kids to be able to go virtual or whatever, I think less contact, you know, kind of move things on a little smoother. But hey, like I said, I mean, it's kind of sensitive to say, but at this time, you might if you just want to feeling bad, just stay home, you know, because let's be honest, the percentages of everybody on the team getting sick is probably really low. So if you're feeling bad, you know, just stay out the way. But once you get that test, it kind of blows it up. So I really don't know what to say on that one.
That's right, Corey. You're saying, and all me and you and everybody's saying is what everybody else is saying anyway. Coaches are saying that all over the state. If you're not
Yeah.
feeling well, they're not trying to get you to take the test. Anybody's
Yeah.
anybody's saying that they're fooling, they're not being true to themselves. These coaches and players want to finish this season. So
Yeah.
for those of you out there who are thinking that we're not trying to be insensitive at all, it is a touchy subject, but things like this need to be talked about, and people ought to be able to be give their real opinions without it being, you know, just something that people take personally, because we do see, you know, the health and well-being of our children are important. I have 5 children, so I understand completely, and I don't wish COVID or anything else, the flu. I don't wish the flu. I don't wish a broken arm. I don't wish a broken nose. I don't wish any of it on any child. So, but you know, hopefully and prayerfully, we can get past this. But anyway, moving it right along. Let's talk about. We have some district play. Some teams. I know most district players they take the top 3 teams out of 4, but some teams season is already over. I think Corey, I read up north, Potts Camp's girls, they lost to Manatee. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. And so their season's over. Talk to us a little bit. Anybody court, you know, up in up that way, up north on the girls' side. Any surprises so far? I thought I read somewhere about Belmont in a struggle.
Yeah, they went I think they went to overtime today with Amory. Some of them lower schools they get to fall out quick because I think they got like 6 people. So that first round game is gonna be a wrap for them. But you know, the 6A schools, they get to do their little play-in game. You know, South Haven Horn Lake got a play-in game whenever they meet Friday. Lewisburg and Soto Central got a play-in game. But you got teams that's from the lowest, like you said, Potts Camp. You got Byhead, they drop. I think some teams got to fight for elimination to either today or tomorrow. So I'm not sure. I've been watching a lot of JUCO ball and college basketball lately too. You know, keeping up with kind of like a little bit of just the north and whatever you broadcast. Been keeping up with it here and there. So I'm just reading about it like everybody else.
Eddie, you got anything to add on the girls?
Yeah, I do, man. First off, I want to ask Shoes a question. And Shoes kind of will remember this. I don't like the new format. You know, to me, I think it's a bit watered down when in obviously like Cordarius said, in some of the lower divisions, 1A, 2A, 3A, you got, you know, 6 teams obviously in some of those districts. But the traditional 4-team district, the way it used to be back in the day, is, you know, they try to keep 32 teams in most of those districts. And, you know, on Monday night, I remember those games when, you know, you lost that first district game, you were out, and the field was cut from 32 to 16. To me, I just think like an instance where I'll use Northwest Rankin girls, for example. Played Pearl last night and got beat pretty good, right? They'll play Terry because Brandon obviously beat Terry in a consolation game. So that's a winnable game against Terry. So they could possibly win that game and then have, so they, a team that's probably below average to average will play 3 playoff games, and they never would have done that with the old format. So for me, I don't know. I don't ask Shoes and you guys' opinion. To me, I don't like this new format. I like it where, hey, look, you go out, you get to your better teams right from the door. I just think it's too many games to me, and I think it's a bit watered down.
Well, I'm going to address that first by saying, okay, the different thing, the way the playoffs are set up, there's a big difference in the 5A and the 6A and the 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, because in 4A, 3A, 2A, they take 4 teams out from each region. In 5, 6, and 5, they only take 3 out because there are only 4-team regions. When we were young, Eddie, yeah, they were only taking 2 out the region. The only 2 got out when I was in high school, and for years after that, the only 2 that got out were the 2 that got to the final. You had to get to the final to get out. And then you went to North and South State, where there were 8 teams, and every game meant something. They did take 3 to Jackson. We did have that old format where they bought 3 from the North and 3 from the South to Jackson.
Right, and you had to buy, No, I was just saying,
everything was elimination. When they changed the districts around at one point and started, back then when I know when I was in high school, they only had 4 classes, and then they went to 5, and then they went to 6. As they've gone to more classes, I think going to more classes, what it did was it condensed the teams from top to bottom closer. And I think the reason that they went to these formats where you take 3 and 4 teams from a district now is because it's not for the teams that are, to give the teams that are bad a chance to continue to play. It's for those districts that have 3 and 4 good, 2 and 3 and 4 good teams. They were getting knocked out early on, and they were better than some of the teams coming out of some of the other regions. Kind of like you, Eddie. Well, you still got to beat the folks to get there. So it don't matter if you get knocked out in district or if you get knocked out in the North or South State playoffs. You got to win out. So you are kind of watered it down by taking all those teams. I agree with you there, Eddie. You kind of watered it down because in 4A, in 4A on down, they got that extra round where everybody plays. Those 1 versus 4 games are usually laughers. 2 and 3 games, 2-3 games can be competitive sometimes. In the 4, 5A, 6A ranks, you get a lot of, they do that cross 2-3 game early, and all the ones get a bye. But it's I do think that it would be more exciting if every game meant something. Whereas these, now, like you say, they get second chances early on. They get that second chance early on. I kind of like the way it was early on too, where it was do or die early. It was do or die early. You had to fight.
I remember.
Once you got the good team, the team that made it there were going to be the best team.
I remember when it was just 5A. It went up to 5A, and we was in 4A. We had 8 teams in our district, and we wound up losing twice. So that's why we were second seed coming out the whole thing, but we wound up losing twice because we got upset. Then we wound up getting beat again. And we still was able to go to the playoffs. That's why we went down there and had to play Lanier my senior year. So, I mean, that was crazy. 8 teams, that's kind of a lot, but it is. I think 3A got like 8 teams and some of them districts.
Some of them got 6 to 8 teams in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And 3 and 4 and 5, 1 and 2, they got a lot of teams.
Yeah, but I like the format do or die because it kind of get your best out your team too. So, you get upset. I remember one time South Haven was like 2-25, and Olive Branch was like 28-5, and they lost. And they put them out as number 1 seed, put them out, and they had no chance of getting in the state playoff. So, things happen like that too. And I like them type of upsets sometimes.
I don't feel sorry for the teams. You got to play your best when it's time to play your best.
Yeah. And they were boys. I think that was back when Andy Orr was coaching Olive Branch. They were boys. So
yeah.
Another thing I like to, Evie, I want to jump in before you go to your next topic. Another thing that I would like to see that we used to do back in the day was the Grand Slam. For some of the people who aren't familiar with what the Grand Slam was the top, every state championship winner from the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A played against each other in an overall championship game. It used to be in Tupelo, if I remember correctly. And man, I'd like to see the High School Activities Association at some point get back to that Grand Slam so we can crown an overall winner. Because I think, especially with basketball, some of these 3A and 4A teams are just as good as some of the 4 and 5A. I know the 1A and 2A. I know that's what some of the complaints back in the day was. It was a wash because the 1A and 2As couldn't really compete with the big dogs. But at least give them an opportunity. I think it'll be good for the state to kind of get back to the Grand Slam. I'm not sure why they stopped doing it, but that's always good at the end of the year to see the champions play each other. I remember back in the Dream game. Shoes will probably remember this. Cordarius, you probably wasn't born. I know EV was. He was a senior citizen, so he probably remember. When Murrah played against Lawrence County. Yeah, those type of games are things that people want to see. At the end of the year. So as we talk about playoffs, man, I'm wondering if there's some talks about that. Maybe at some point getting back to us doing sort of a Grand Slam type of championship. If not, maybe we need to all form a committee and try to put something together, because I think that's always good, man, to do that. What Shoes, you shaking your head? You didn't like the Grand Slam?
Oh no, I was shaking
Okay.
something flew back. But
Yeah.
no, I like the concept. The hard thing was getting all the teams to put in. It was in Tupelo. The crowds weren't that great, and for some reason, you couldn't get all the coaches to care about the Grand Slam. Some of these coaches, once they won their state championship, they didn't really care about the Grand Slam, and that's kind of what was killing it some. I think that's what killed it the second go round. When I was young, they always played overall. Coming up when they had double A, double B, and B, they always played the overall champ. And you had some. I remember Florence won the overall champ, won the Grand Slam. Holly Simmons won the Grand Slam back those in the 70s when those days. And but when they brought it back, it just everybody didn't have the same enthusiasm for it. And I don't know what you can do to get it, but I think that's the biggest part of it, the biggest issue of it. A lot right now, so many teams put so much into their regular, class championship, and once they get that, and it emulates down from the coaches. Some of the coaches just didn't care about their Grand Slam, and like you say, now there were some guys, there's some guys, if they hit the coach, they're gonna kill a gnat with a sledgehammer. Every time they hit it, they try to do that, but a lot of guys, a lot of other coaches, about half the coaches didn't seem to have enthusiasm for it. And I really think that's what killed it more than anything. And I don't know how you combat that, because some of these coaches just won't seem to care.
It'd be nice if just and I know this may sound to me it'd be just nice, give people an opportunity. If they want to play any, cool. If not, it's cool too. Like let's look at a potential dream matchup this year on the boys' side. Obviously Clinton, if they went out, because they're the most talented team, I would love to see Clinton versus Callaway. I just think that would be a great game. Or Clinton versus, because I think the 5A, we'll just transition into that. When we look at our, I'll just give you some of the favorites that I think, and I'll go as far as the ones that I know, and then everybody can piece together theirs. I think when we look at 6A boys, you have to look at Clinton and Starkville to me are the two schools. That's who I'm looking at. to win a state championship. I do think Harrison Central is talented enough, but I just don't think they're playing well enough to be in that conversation. On the 5A level, there are three teams to me: Forest Hill, Callaway being one in my mind, Forest Hill and Center Hill. Those to me are going to be, I think between those three teams should win a state championship in 5A boys. When we go down to 4A boys, it gets a little trickier. I think you got to talk about Pontotoc from the north. And then I think you gotta mention, I think these teams are jumbled up. You got Florence, now that they haven't come in at 3 seed, I don't know where they're going to be, if their road is going, I'm assuming it's going to be a little harder. And then you got Lanier. I think Lanier is a dark horse, but you can't count them out. And obviously you can't count Raymond out. Raymond knows, they just know how to get to the state championship game. That's what they've been. So on the 4A, that's kind of where I stop, because when you get a little further, I don't really know too much about any other ones. On the girls, 6A, obviously, when you talk about 6A, you got to talk about Meridian. Obviously, I think you got to look at Germantown with Madison Booker. She's capable, and Alana Rouser. She's capable of possibly putting them on their back and then they, having a ride. I think out north, I know Cora talked about Tupelo being a team that, they're still very talented. When you
get Olive Branch, I can't.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You know what? I apologize, Olive Branch.
They don't beat everybody, so
Olive Branch is, you can't.
Gulfport as well, EV on the coast. Yeah. Gulfport beat Hancock again last night, so that's hard. I always say it's hard to beat a team 3 or 4 times in a season, a really good team, and they beat them in a low scoring game, 30-something to 28 or 33-29. It was
29. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so you got those teams. So I think 6A probably on the girls' side might be the toughest route, girls or boys, out of anything. 5A girls, who I'll just transition over to you, Eddie and Cora. What do you guys see in the 5A?
Well, I think any team that Coach Hairston is coaching at Columbus, they're going to be right there. They got the size inside with Charity Yates, a 6'2" post player, Michaela Reeves, 6-foot post player that's averaging a double-double, for the past several games. And DJ just had a triple-double the other day, the point guard, the dynamic sophomore Shania Givens. Columbus got all the twos, and they're another team that was affected by COVID as well. So I just think on the onset, Columbus is definitely one of the top teams in 5A. And then Laurel, with McKenzie coming over from Petal, I think changed the game for them. And they've got a tremendous 1-2 punch. So, Laurel and Columbus are probably going to be right there in 5A. There are some dark horses such as Vicksburg, who's starting to play a lot better, with their 1-2 punch of Layla Carter, Destiny Sims. They've really been on the roll here lately. So those Holmes County Central, man, I tell you what, they EV covered a game when they played. I can't remember who they played, but man, they looked tremendous. After that game, I was actually like, wow, because they've been in and out of my top 20. They've been a bit inconsistent. But the game that he covered, I got a chance to watch them, and man, I was just like, wow, they've been better than what I thought. But they can't beat Neshoba Central. My apologies, Neshoba Central. They're going to be. They just can't. They can't get over that hump of beating Neshoba Central. But they got the talent, Corders. You're absolutely right. They've got some pieces.
Who you think come out there north though? If they consider north Holmes County.
Yeah, I think Holmes County
is kind of low at 5A. Kind of low.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Cord. The 5A girls is not really good top to bottom, like we alluded to with 6A. You only really got 5 or 6 really good teams that I would say elite teams. Everybody else is just kind of kind of average. But I think as anybody's basketball game, Columbus, I just think, Coach Harrison go get it done in the playoffs, man. They tough. They got all the pieces to really, really do well.
So are you predicting Columbus? Are you? Let's stop all that. Are you? Let's get a prediction from you. Are you going with Columbus?
Well, hey, look, you're talking what you call me the easy one, and
Yeah.
I don't back down from anything. I'll say yeah, Columbus. Columbus would be my prediction for 5A. Yeah, right now I would say Columbus if I'm betting. Yep. Yeah.
Corey, you got anybody you want to throw out there for 5A?
5A. I like that Holmes County team, but I ain't gonna make no predictions. I just like them, the talent wise. When I seen them play a couple times, I ain't gonna make no predictions because I haven't seen Columbus play other than seeing what they box scores and stuff. So I ain't gonna make no predictions in 5A.
What's your thoughts on 6A then?
6A, will put me on the spot. I don't know. I picked Tupelo. I got to roll with Tupelo with my pick. I gotta keep rolling with them. But it's hard. It's hard. The Olive Branch team done beat everybody they would match up against. So got to give them credit. They doing an exceptional job. It's hard with the Olive Branch team, especially playing at home. And I know the way they changed the stuff up this year, they'll probably play home all the way out till they go to Jackson, right, or something like that.
Yeah, they will. They region one, so they the lowest number region. They're gonna be at home. They're gonna be at home.
If they win a district championship, they'll be at home always. So it's gonna be hard to beat them at home. So
who do they play for the district championship?
Tupelo. So it'll be a burner again.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
Oh, it's been a good one for the 2 games they played in district play. Gonna be another good one.
Well, let's talk about that.
They 1-1 too. They 1-1. They beat each other.
Let's talk about it, Corey.
What's that shoes? What's that shoes?
I said that they split or did they
split?
Sweep?
They split. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. Let's talk about that game. Tupelo, Corey, give us the keys to victory then. Keys for Olive Branch. What does Olive Branch has to do to win, and then what does Tupelo have to do to win?
I start with Tupelo. I think Tupelo got to handle their pressure. Got to be able to dominate the boards as being bigger than them. They got to dominate the boards because Olive Branch is scrappy, and they just got to be able to make sure they don't let Olive Branch make a lot of runs in that home with that home crowd. Because that home crowd can get kind of rowdy up in there at Olive Branch. It can, especially when they got the winning team. You'll hear a lot of barking. They'll be at the referees. They tend to get the home court advantage with the call sometimes. And if they
still barking with Mark down at Tupelo. With Mark at Pearl. With Mark at Pearl now, they still barking.
I don't know about that. I don't know. But they'll bark at anybody. They'll bark at them already when they came in. They own everybody. So you just handle that crowd. Don't turn the ball over and beat them on the boards. I think Tupelo got a chance. Olive Branch, I think they got to slow up. They got to slow up Michaela Riley. She's been playing good against them. That's a key. I think stopping Jaleesa Florence from being that floor general because she been handling the press well as far as I've seen watching them on live stream and stuff. The times I was able to. And just beat them on the boards. They got to beat them on the boards well because they smaller than Tupelo. So if they do them things like they did, because it went all the way down to the wire in both games. So, I think if they do them things, but I can't even predict who will win. I'm just gonna stay out of that one. Every time I predict something, it don't.
Let me ask you this: two questions about this, Corey and Eddie. You can jump in and choose. Obviously, if you know anything about the Tupelo Olive Branch, you're welcome to. Who is on that night, in your opinion, Corey, who's going to be the best player that night on either team? And then who is that unsung hero that could win, that nobody likes to talk about or nobody really talks about, that could win the game, swing the game for either team?
So get one on both teams, right? One for Tupelo, one for Olive Branch.
Yeah.
I think Jaleesa Florence is if she handle that pressure and keep her team in line, she is the key player for that team. Not saying in the scoring column or nothing like that, but she keep her team poised. That's how Tupelo can win. And on Olive Branch side, if they get a big night from Maya Black, if they mess around and get a big night from Maya Black, so the 2 point guards, if they control their team and have big nights, not far as just scoring 20 or nothing like that, but handling the ball and the pressure, they both can come out with victory either way. And I think unsung hero for Tupelo is Shakina Jackson. She been a big shot maker all year. She's so fast. She D's up. She been the glue player for them all year. She's somebody that she have a big game Every time you have a big game, they wind up getting the win. And for Olive Branch, I gotta give it to two players is Brianna Eason and Trinity Pease. They two glue players that you probably don't hear too much about, but they the reason why Olive Branch go. Without them, I don't think their defense be as superior as it being this year.
Eddie, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I like the Cleves kid too for Tupelo.
Yeah,
Is it Lamaria? Yeah, I like
that's
her.
unsung.
Yeah, she's an unsung player. I think that can really make an impact and change the game. I'm gonna throw my prediction in, man. 6A. I think I got Germantown winning 6A this year. So that's what I'm rolling with. Hey, Shoes, I want to ask you something real quick. Vicksburg got a chance Vicksburg upset Clinton. Is that who beat Clinton?
Last Monday, yeah. Last Monday.
Yeah. What was the story on that, man? I didn't see that. I know I like Vicksburg. I've seen the boys play twice this year. I think they got some good pieces.
Well, I've said, you know, I've talked on the boys' show in a number of times about how for the last 2 years I've been waiting to see Vicksburg turn it on. I think they're one of the most talented teams in the metro area. They got the talent to make a run to the state championship in 5A. And actually, I look back at their schedule. They're like 14-6, 14-6. They lost 2 early games to Natchez and Northwest Rankin. I was like, same old Vicksburg. And then when JPS got in action, they played Forest Hill at Kirksey. I was at that game, and Forest Hill was like Forest Hill's first and second game, and they handled them. The final score wasn't indicative of how easily Forest Hill handled them. But since that time, they played well. They've had 3 other losses, but I look back, they have 4 losses, and their losses are those first 2 others: Forest Hill, Raymond, and 2 to Callaway. They got wins over Brandon and Clinton during that time. So, you know, they're starting to play real well. I watched them play. Their playing style will allow people to hang around a little bit, but they've been doing a much better job of closing games out and playing, using their full playing together. And I think they're a threat. I don't think they'll beat Callaway Friday night, but I think once they get on the other side of the bracket, you know, they're a threat. They'll be on the other side with Forest Hill. It would surprise me to see them playing Forest Hill in the semifinals. You know, I definitely think they're capable of it. They're capable of getting there. They're very talented. They got I'm trying to think of the guard's name. The short, dark-skinned guard. They can really shoot it. I can't think of his name right now. They got one guard that can really shoot. They got a couple other ball handlers. They got size. The Williams kid is size, beast on the glass. You know, they don't go. They started going to him a little more early in games and giving him a chance to get going. Then they got other size. They're like 6'7", 6'5". They got another 6'6", 6'7" kid. They got size and they got guard play. They got a freshman. They got the freshman Cam Carter over there that's playing up and playing well for them. So I think they've got a chance to make a run. I think they got a chance to make a run. They've been really playing well. I think they caught them on the right day. It was senior night. They were through district play. Their last game of the season. They kind of caught Clinton the right night. Because Clinton actually the Friday night before didn't play extremely well against Murrah. You'll agree with that, won't you, EV? They didn't play extremely well against Murrah, but they closed Murrah out in the 4th quarter. But Vicksburg was, they're just starting to get rolling, and they caught Clinton at just the right time, and so they were able to beat them. But I definitely feel they got the talent to make a run in 5A. Definitely feel like
they jumped into the top 50 national rankings the night before, and I didn't know if that had anything to do with
it. They might have been resting on their laurels a little. It might have given Vicksburg a little more fire to be playing a national ranked team. So, EV, I want to make a statement though towards something that you've been going with all season, EV. How talented Clinton is. They're the most talented team, top to bottom. Mm-hmm. But EV, I think Callaway got the most talented starting lineup in the state. You may want to say they not 1 through 10. They got a lot of guards. Callaway might have the most talented starting lineup in the state. They got size. They got the two explosive guards. Trey is over there shooting threes. They long. They blocking shots. I mean, they got size. Like I said, I dare say they may be the most. True. They're not 10 deep. Boy, that's is a thing of is talent. The Callaway got.
I think that you're not right. I don't think you're far off on that at all, Shoes. I mean, I think that's a legitimate statement. You can argue that. I think that they definitely have a legitimate starting five. There's no two better guards in the state combo wise as Deshaun and Kevion. I mean, they're the cream of the crop. I don't know of two guards that you can pretty much guarantee that's going to get Kevion every night is going to get you 20, 6, 7 rebounds and 6, 7 assists every night. I mean, you can pretty much put that in. Deshaun, and this is the thing about Deshaun, he's jacking around and getting 26 to 35. Yeah. That's jacking around. He's going to jack around and get 26. He's just going to show up, and that's just because he's the most talented. He's so talented. He is really unguardable. And then when you have Trey, whom Coach Sanders, I talked to him the other day, whom I was telling Coach, because he had taken Trey Taylor, the 6'5" sophomore, out of the lineup. And I said, Dave, man, that length you got back there, man, that's imposing. He had a great game, he said, against Ridgeland the other night where he had 18, 10, and about, I don't know, 3 or 4 threes, shot the ball well. So you got him at 6'5", then you got Dylan Redmond at 6'7", and then AJ, who is the best shot blocker in the state, no doubt to me, averaging about 5 to 6 shot blocks a game. Now, the key even with that imposing lineup, their weakness is still defensive rebounding. They don't rebound at a high level like they should. They do a great job of they do a phenomenal job of if you ain't blocking the shot, God, what's the word I'm looking for? Y'all know they changing the shot. Yeah. And so they doing that, but
they're altering shots, altering the shots.
Altering, there it is. That's right. But they got to do better rebounding the basketball. They don't dominate the glass. There's guys that come in and get rebounds against them, and that's really unacceptable.
You're right, they don't. But what they do is they are so imposing defensively with all that length they got over there.
Yes, they are.
They got people throwing things over the rim and everywhere, blocking shots. They
the other thing I want to go back to and mention too with Clinton and Vicksburg. I was not shocked at all that Vicksburg beat them. I think Vicksburg is a state, has the ability, has the talent. When you look at pound for pound talent, Vicksburg is no question a top 5 team at any level. When you got 7 guys on your team that can play at the next level, to me, you're very talented. And Vicksburg has those 7 guys. So I wasn't shocked. I think, and I'm not a big fan of this. And we were talking about this, me and even Dave Sanders was talking about this recently. I'm not a guy that wants to, when I coached, I never wanted to lose a game to learn a lesson. You know how you have some guys say, man, we needed to lose one. I want to win every one. I want to win ugly.
I don't believe in that, EV. I'm with you. I don't believe in that. Ain't no such thing as a good loss.
No, I don't want to win. When they say, "Oh, that was an ugly win," I've never seen in the history of basketball when they put the W, it's never UW. It's just W. I don't care if it's 1 point. I don't care if it's 50 points. It's just a W. And so, but with me saying that, I think that this loss for Clinton will definitely help them. They have been on the cusp of losing. As much as I love Clinton, they're a team that it's like they're so Jekyll and Hyde, and you get frustrated with them because they're so talented and they don't perform up to their level like they should every night. Like, I'll give you a point of example, and I just have to keep it real. I think Kamani Hamilton, we should be talking with his size, his skill set. The conversation should be, in my opinion, he's a potential one of Mississippi's next pros, because he has everything. When you look at his body, his shoulders, his skills, you look at what the NBA is looking for right now. But right now, Kamani is not, his play doesn't say that. Although he's getting 15, 16, even with Clinton's deep team, it should be Kamani Hamilton and the other 9. He should be getting an easy 20. He's talented enough. He should be getting 25 to 30 every night with 10 rebounds. And he's not doing that right now. And so what am I saying? And I think that's Clinton's team. They have Clinton has the talent, because they just so talented. They can score 90 points every night if they just went at it. But sometimes they get into, they hit a 3 and they dancing and doing this and doing that. And it's like, dude, it's like, no, y'all ain't that good yet. Y'all ain't won 8 championships in a row. You gotta, come on, let's win this championship. And even then, it's something about winning with class. And I'm a Clinton fan, y'all know I love Clinton's talent. But this loss, I think, should trigger something to them and say, wait a minute, we can get beat, because they hadn't lost, and they had won some games that they probably should have lost. And so this was the time to lose if you want to lose. So even though I didn't want to I don't ever want to teach a lesson like that, but
now it happened. It happened.
Yeah.
You have to you look at it from the positive aspect.
Yeah, it happened at a good time. Now I'm gonna tell you another team that's on the opposite spectrum of Clinton that I have enjoyed watching this team probably as much as a team play probably that I've watched in the last 30 years. They're one of my top 5 to enjoy watch play. Now, I'm not saying to make I hope y'all understand what I'm saying.
I know you're talking about Forest Hill.
Forest Hill.
I know you're talking about Forest Hill.
Forest Hill. And I was telling Jerry Curry, and Jerry Curry, man, he is a funny guy, man. He gonna try to tell me and Chuck the other week. Now, I done just seen him put up 80 points. Man, we didn't play well. Okay, Curry. I'm not gonna let you do that to me. So last night they beat Wingfield 92-39. 92-39, mark it. And what I like about them is they have 8 players. That's all they got. And really, George Marshall and Jamie Mitchell are what I would consider the stars. The rest of them are role players who understand their role. I don't know of a team that understands their role better than Forest Hill. They got guys like Isaiah Williams and Jordan Ely. Jordan Ely don't get, and Tyrese Maxey doesn't get one play call for them. You know what they do, though? They get every offensive rebound, they take charges, and they get excited to do it. That is a winning team. When you got guys like that, and that's what also kind of makes Callaway good, because Dylan and AJ are cool with playing their role. They do it too. A little bit. They want to be dunk guys, tip dunks. AJ gonna block shots, and Trey Taylor gonna hit some shots. So Callaway is in that mold. Forest Hill's just a little deeper. They play 8. Callaway probably go about 6 or 7. So those two teams to me, but Callaway sometimes the difference between Callaway and Forest Hill, I would say I would give them the edge as the better team. But I would say Forest Hill right now, their team, man, they just come out. Like last night, they did not take Wingfield for granted. They didn't, how kids get up 30 and they start dancing and jacking around and just shooting up bat. They didn't do that.
That's what I want to jump into, EV. To me, I've always believed that the team takes on the personality of their coach. You made an analogy about Clinton, and I've seen Clinton boys play 3 or 4 times this year myself. And about halfway through the game, it seems you ever watch the NBA All-Star game where they're throwing a bunch of alley hoops and they're not what I always say is respecting the game. It's fun. Look, we love whatever you say. I lay you, I tray you, I dunk you, all the little gimmick stuff that you got. and all of that's cute. But at the end of the day, you have to respect the game. And to me, that's a reflection of the coach. To hear a team like Forest Hill, who I've seen twice, they're taking on the personality of their coach. They're playing hard and they're respecting the game, and they're not playing a score. A lot of times what happens is you get up 20, 30 points and you're playing the score. You got to play. When you walk in the gym and you see Forest Hill, you think they down 20. When they up 20, they're playing like they down 20. So to me, honestly, that's on the coach. You got to be able to be able to go out there and not coast. To me, that's unacceptable. And I like Coach, coach at Clinton. I think he's won a state championship at Raymond. But that's something that they're going to have to get fixed, because like you said, you ain't won anything yet. You ain't, Clinton hadn't won anything. So you've got to be able to go out there
They haven't even been to the Coliseum in a minute.
Yeah. So
they haven't even been to the Coliseum for a minute.
Yeah.
Y'all know who coming from the north. They coming focused and ready to go.
Starkville.
It's winter time when the playoffs come around. They coming ready to go.
The good thing about Clinton is going to have, because they have the same path that we did when we were at Merle last year. Clinton won't see Starkville to the championship, because they're going to be.
That'll be the perfect game for the championship game.
Oh yes, it would, because you have Starkville in their mind. Starkville, I can just hear Greg Carter and them now, and I don't even know Greg like that. I'm guessing he wanted to win that game at the Rumble, but he definitely gonna want to win that game at the state championship.
Now I'm gonna tell you what happened at the Rumble. Clinton was up to play because they probably felt that they got bested. When they kind of blew the game at the end last year. But I think in the championship game, if both of them can make it, which I think they will. But like I said, it's COVID. We might have another Murrah case come up next week. So
Okay.
If both of those guys can make it, I think it'll be a great game. And I think we'll see a totally different game than we've seen at the Rumble from probably both teams.
So we ain't gonna let you get off the hook. Are you picking Starkville?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When it comes to the championship round, I got to go with, I got to go with who's been winning. They've won 2 straight. So until they get beat, you got to go with the winners.
Hey,
Okay.
T-Well, let me ask you a question. Who on the boys' side has underachieved? Who did you maybe have coming in this year that you kind of felt good about that ain't having quite the season that you're thinking on the boys' side? And then Cordarius on the girls' side too. I'm just taking over. That's what I do, Shoes. I take over his show at some point, man. So.
He needs help.
I think for me, and it's probably for everybody, I think it was probably Murrah that underperformed. I don't think they, for them to be a championship level team last year, I think they really underperformed to have, 3 great players in Esco, Big Joe, and Avon Johnson. So I really think they underperformed a lot this year. That's probably my underperforming team. For them to have so much, a big 3 like that, I think they underperformed.
Now, I'm going to have to jump in there on that, because I coached Murrah last year, and I have to disagree. Because although they had the big 3, here's why I disagree. When you look at Murrah's team, they didn't
have EV this year. Let's go and call the spade. They didn't have EV this year.
Hey, Shoes, that's really what he want to say. That's really what he want to say.
They didn't have EV this year.
No, absolutely not. Everybody knows how I feel about JJ. I think JJ Washington is one of the brightest young coaches in the state, in the country. That's how I feel about JJ. I really believe that. But when you look at the rest of Murrah's team, and we can go pound for pound, besides Corterius Scott, they didn't have another kid that could even make another varsity team anywhere else. You can argue that. Now think about that. So are you telling me that, and that's where
on the TV that with the 3
okay, you know what?
Have been much better.
Okay, they may have underachieved a little bit, but and then that's T. Webb's opinion. So he have a right to that. Murrah's kind of close to me a little bit, because I did.
Absolutely not. For me, I'm not blaming the coach at all. You know what I'm saying? Because the coach not out there playing. So I don't blame coaches on everything. You got to put the ball in the hole and play defense. So I can't blame the coach for that. You know what I'm saying? So that was just my underachieving team, just because I feel with a big three in high school, you can still win even if you don't have, you know what I'm saying, other pieces. They just got to do what they're doing. You know, because you just talked about Forest Hill. You talked about them having 2 good players. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else, they just know their roles. So if you got a big three, everybody else, you should be able to find at least 2 more people that can just do the bare minimum. Because you got the scoring down pat.
If they just play defense hard, and play hard, you're going to win games. The 2 others.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Shoes, is that your most undervalued team too? Your most, like, who?
Well, when you asked the question, they were the team that came in. To me, Holmes County was the team that came in.
You said Holmes you're breaking up a little bit, Shoes.
Okay. I say to me, Holmes County Central was the team that came to mind, the first team that came to mind for me. That's the underachiever. But I do think Murray was a big underachiever, but might have been more of an underachiever. But when he first asked the question, Holmes County Central was the team that came to mind with me. I thought they would have been a lot better this year than they were.
What about up north, T. Webb? Name any boys team up north you thought underachieved?
Trying to think of somebody who's good that really underachieved. Not really, because everybody, you know what I'm saying, the teams that are usually winning, you know what I'm saying, they still been winning, so nobody really underachieved so far this year.
Howard said, who you
Olive
say?
Branch.
Olive Branch boys.
Yeah.
Oh, but they reload though, so you know what I'm saying, they kind of lost a lot. But I heard they're pretty good though. I've seen some film on them.
South Haven is a sleeper in the north. South Haven is
no. South Haven is
South Haven beat everybody.
Played them last year.
Yeah, they beat everybody. They only split with Lake Comer.
Cause South Haven they 6'8" too, right? South Haven 6'8".
Huh? What's that, Shoes?
I see they swept Center Hill. They beat Center Hill.
Yeah, they swept Center Hill. They only split with Lake Comer. They beat Olive Branch. Because you know Olive Branch always be the other North team to come out at 6'8". So who's gonna be that slot this year?
South Haven is definitely legit. That's who we played in Mississippi Valley in the Final Four. South Haven, or in the quarters, maybe. Might have been, what is that? What was the Mississippi?
And they've been playing together for a long time. I think this is their year to kind of make a little deeper run if they can get some matchups. They can get some matchups.
Is Regular still playing for them? Isaiah Regular?
He in Memphis.
Okay.
He's playing Memphis this year. Well, he not playing at all. But he was. If they had Isaiah Regular, man.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I liked him. He had a lot of problems.
The guard either. The other guard is at Horn Lake.
Yeah, Chalmers. He went. John Chalmers. Yeah, he went to Horn Lake, and they still came out. So if they would have had them two, you talking about compete with anybody in the state? No doubt.
Yeah, we thought me and JJ talked about that next year. Because South Haven had everybody back. They didn't lose anybody.
Yeah, they didn't lose.
I didn't realize they were having that good a year till I saw what their record was this week. I didn't realize they were having that. Those teams up north don't. I mean, Lake Carmont and Center Hill, the only guys that really kind of keep their records out there. What they're doing, it's hard to find info on Olive Branch and South Haven and DeSoto Central.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Information on them.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got Olive Branch. I think Olive Branch had beat Pontotoc, so you know what I'm saying. It's gonna be iffy because Olive Branch still got some talent. You know what I'm saying. It really just gonna depend on if they can, you know what I'm saying, produce something.
Would you all say New Albany was an underachiever up north this year?
New Albany?
Yeah, would you say they may have been a little bit of an underachiever?
I think so.
I would have thought
I think everybody thought they were doing better. They lost 2 of their best players last year too. So, like Cameron Carter, he stepped up a lot. Then they got Michael Smith. Yeah. I don't know if you guys seen Michael Smith. He probably like 6'5", kind of like a wing. He's pretty good too. So, I think they've been kind of, you know, they did what the coach probably expected them to do this year.
I thought they'd probably been a little more consistent than they were early on, but you know.
On the girls' side, Corey, who's up north, who has been a disappointment, and Eddie down south, who's been a disappointment to you?
Eddie always say this team right here all the time, Salatillo. But they playing the championship this week. They made it to the championship. I think they can make a run in 5A.
Hold on, Corey. Hold on. I got to go back. Listen, I saw them 2 weeks ago. Listen, man, look, I'm gonna have to eat my words, man. They were very impressive at the Robinson Classic up there in Walnut, man. I ain't gonna lie. To be honest with you, I think they could run the table and actually really make it deep. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go back on that again. I mean, but they started off 1-6. I mean, I just couldn't understand it. But right now.
And whose girl was favorite player was 5'8" player of the year? Who was it? Can I hear her? Can I hear you say her name?
Hey, look, Jania's doing her thing. We know Court. I mean, we know he loved Jania. I know you do as well, Court. And I mean, we all have always said that she was a talented player. I just think he's just so you know how he does. He gets so crazy about these kids, man. But go ahead, Court. I just want.
And I'm gonna say South Haven girls too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say South Haven girls, but they don't have one of the best duos in the state. But I mean, Taylor Woodhouse went down, so they really couldn't make the real run like they want to. But they was kind of like a up and down disappointment team this year.
Yeah. For me, we talked about them earlier. They're just so up and down. Holmes County Central, too talented to be up and down. Neshoba Central just got their number, man. I think they'll have to get over that hurdle. Do you see Neshoba Central scored 114 points or something last night? I don't know if y'all saw that or not.
Against who?
I can't remember who it was. I think they scored like 114 or something. They beat somebody by about 50 or 60 points last night. I can't remember who it is. But they, I mean, when they shooting them threes, they live and die. Man, them kids live and die by the three-point ball, man. So when they get going, they something special. But I tell you, Evie, who's really, really disappointing me, guys, is Hillcrest Christian. I think when I saw Milani Galbraith, who was JPS Player of the Year, transferred to them with the coach's daughter, and I can't remember the post-sophomore player that they got in Amber Scott. They've got enough talent where they have not really beat any quality MAIS teams, in my opinion. I mean, they've got 8-9 losses on the season, I believe, and no quality wins, to be honest with you. So Hillcrest Christian, to me, is a huge disappointment. I love the coaching staff there, but I'm gonna call it how it is. Shoes, they get mad at me. I'm just gonna say Eddie Young gonna speak his mind. But they are a big disappointment to me. Probably the biggest disappointment of any team in the state. Hillcrest Christian.
Neshoba beat Canton 105-51.
What was it?
Neshoba beat Canton 105-51.
I knew it was a high-scoring game. I saw that last night. So
51. When you talk about, first of all, you talk about boys scoring 100, that's a big deal. But when you got some girls that score 100 points, that's like equivalent of a boy scoring 130 points.
Yeah.
And that is huge, man. For a girl to put up 105 points, my hat's off to them. That's a dangerous team.
They are EV, and what it is, when they shooting that three ball the way they're doing EV in transition, they do a lot of hard pushing, and they're trying to get that trail three. And if that three ball going, they can beat anybody in the state, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. With Jalecia Jim and the kid that you like, Shaylin Hunter, Shay, and the Jemison kid, man, they got some real shooters. So I think Holmes County may get them. I'm assuming they're going to be playing each other Friday. Holmes County got the tools to beat them. So, but yeah.
Who did y'all have winning 4A girls? Who y'all think gonna pull that off?
Well, I'm on the record, T-Well, and I can't go back on it. I think I'm on the record, ain't it, Cord, with
Oh, yeah, you are. Don't try to take Cord. I'm here. Yes, you're on the record.
Hey, I got Tisha Mingo still winning it. Choctaw Central is another team who's a smidge. To me, I think they got, probably one of the better 1-2 punches with their guard play. And
I was going to say that because I watched them play against, I referenced them playing against Louisville last week. I was like Choctaw Central.
You breaking up, T-Well.
Yeah, got a pretty good team, too. The post play, hear me now? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, I was like, I reffed them last week versus Louisville, Choctaw Central. They do got the good guard duo, and then they have the big girl and the post player. So I was like, I think they can be pretty solid. They play organized, Nobody does anything that they can't do. So I think they should be pretty solid. I haven't seen Tisha Mingo, so you'll know a little bit more about them than I would. But I think they should be
How's
solid.
Pontotoc doing? How's
Pontotoc girls.
Pontotoc doing?
They
Pontotoc
loaded.
girls is good.
Yeah, Pontotoc girls are good too. They're good too, but like me, I think guard play wins games. And like you said, that two-headed monster over there at Choctaw Central, I don't think it's too many girls, you know what I'm saying, that's going to run with them girls because they get up and down the floor pretty fast.
Well, I tell you, the Pontotoc thing, Shoes, to answer your question, I think they're one of the hottest teams in the state court. If I'm not correct me if I'm wrong. Pontotoc has won 16 in a row, something like that. So they got the Dandy Dozen and Samaya Brooks and Michaela Boyd shooting the cover off the ball right now, and Angela Middleton and Sky Vaughn. They got some veteran pieces that's played a lot of basketball. But no, they'll be right there in 4A. So I think it's a Pontotoc, Tishomingo, Choctaw Central definitely are some of the teams. One of the things too that me and Shoes talked about this the other night, and Evie, you can jump in on this, and Cord and T Webb. Back in the day when we talked about private school basketball, I don't know if y'all remember, it was like watching paint dry. When you went to a private school game, man, it was like, some of the worst basketball that you could see. But now with, Hartfield Academy getting the transfer, and Josh and, I can't think of the kid that signed with McNeese. I like the kid that's going to McNeese. Yeah. And I know y'all had him on the show, man. Even we talk about this, even in my league, there's some kids that may not be going to some of these public schools that the private schools have already jumped on and grabbing these kids in 5th and 6th grade. Private school basketball, I'll say this, I don't know about on the boys' side, but speaking of Choctaw Central, T. Webb, Choctaw Central played Hartfield Academy. I was at the game, and had Hartfield Academy made some very makeable shots, Hartfield Academy could have beat Choctaw Central. So what I'm saying is the Pillow Academies of the world, who's doing a tremendous job, and MAIS and Jackson Academy and Jackson Prep, those private school teams can play with any public school team in the state. I'm not sure about that on the boys' side, but the private school basketball has really made a change. And I think the transfers, when I was in school, you had 1 or 2 guys transfer every now and then. Now, they're loaded with transfers in their private school sector. So,
I always take into account that in actuality, the private school, the biggest private school, you may have 1 or 2 that will match a 4A. Most of them are 3A. If they were in the public school ranks, they'd be 3A on down. And you can't tell me they wouldn't have a bunch of those that would be contenders for championships in the public school ranks 3A on down. I mean, MRA would probably be a 2A school. But you see them, now, and that brings me to a point I did want to talk about. One class I think may have a very exciting playoff this year is the 2A playoffs, especially down south. They got a number of good teams down south in the 2A playoffs. But if say MRA was in the public school ranks, they'd probably be a 2A school. They'd be in the mix for a championship every year in the 2A ranks. And these other schools are Hartfield and JA and Park Lane and some of the schools up north. They play a good brand of ball now.
What I'm asking those Shoes, can MRA beat a Vicksburg with Josh Hubbard? Can they beat a Vicksburg?
I think so. I mean, we've seen them over the last few years beat some good public school teams. They're the one private school. They're kind of like on a plateau on an island by themselves with the schedules they've played the last 6 or 7 years. He hasn't ducked anybody. He's played a lot of the public school teams. He plays good teams in the Rumble. They were right there with Raymond in the Rumble. They definitely could play with and possibly beat. I don't think this team is maybe not be as good as some of those he's had in the past. He's had some really good teams, some really talented teams in the Division I level players the last few years. This team is probably not as good on the front line as some of those teams were. But yeah, I think they definitely, you put him out there against a Vicksburg, I think they definitely would have a chance to win the game. I definitely think they would.
Yeah.
The year that a couple years ago when I think it was the year that St. Andrews won the championship, might have been the year after that. they beat St. Andrews, which St. Andrews was making a deep run in the 3A playoffs. So they definitely can play with the big boys. They definitely, I know them already can.
Speaking of St. Andrews, as we get ready to wrap it up, I think St. Andrews is having a phenomenal year. And to be honest with you, they've been probably the least talked about team. And Rashard Bolden probably has been, and I haven't been able to get a chance to go out and see him because I've been announcing games this year, but he's probably the most least talked about star in the state right now. And Shoes, talk to me, have you seen St. Andrews? Have you seen Rashad play this year? I mean,
I've seen him a couple of times. I actually called one of the games. They're just, they're doing a lot of the same things they did last year. The coach changed this year. But they're still playing at a high level. Rashad is steady, is doing his thing, upper 20, 30 points a night. They got a couple of kids, the Javion Johnson kid, and there's another kid that they have over there that they give them a lot of support. They're not very big, but Javion especially gives them a scrappy interior player, a scrappy kid. He's about 6'3". They kind of gets a lot done inside. They play they play together. They know who their star is. It's like a lot like you said about Forest Hill. The rest of them, they play their role. They know who the star is. They play their role. They play good defense. They've been, to this point, they've just been very, very good. The second half of the season, a bit all in their region, pretty much. Most in their region and other teams. They had a loss early in the season to Terry. Then their COVID shut down. So, but they've been pretty dominant in their district. They've been really dominant in their district. And they've got to be the odds-on favorite right now in 3A. You would think they'd be the odds. 3A doesn't have a slew of high-level teams that jump out at you in it. I mean, up north, they have quite a few. Well, I take that back. You got that district up north with Boonville, Amory. There's one more team in that district. Somebody else in that district. I'm trying to think who they are. I know it's 3 teams in that district, and you got Houston over there. They're gonna be tough. Somebody from that district, out of those 4 are gonna be tough. But Nettleton, I think Nettleton is the other one. So they're gonna have some competition in 3A. But they've been very dominant this second half of the season in their region. I mean, they've been beating the team in their region extremely handily.
D-Web, talk to us about North 3A. Who's that 3A that's gonna give them a run for the money?
I'm gonna tell a lot of guys. Eddie, you probably seen them. I'm gonna tell you, Knoxville beat Boonville last year at Boonville. Now, Knoxville, they got a coach. He can really coach. Like, they don't really have a super duper superstar, but they play really, really hard, and they get after it on defense. They ran up against Holly Springs last year at ICC, and I mean, Holly Springs, they were loaded last year. So if they didn't run up against them, I think they would have probably had a chance to make a run in there. But then you got Houston. I think Houston is probably going to be – they're not as good as last year because last year they had 2 good guards as well. So the guard play is not as good, but they're going to still be solid. They got MJ Smith. They got Rashawn that just signed with Kahoma. And then they have Shamar. Shamar's a football player. He's going to EMCC, but they have a good core group that can still make a run. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure what St. Andrews have besides Bolden, but I think it might be wide open. Like, I seen Velma Jackson play against Raymond, so I'm not really sure what we really going to see in the 3A division. I'm not really sure who's going to be at the top, but I think we can probably expect those same teams that probably made a run last year to probably do the same thing again.
Yeah. Anybody 2A or 1A Shoes or 2A, 1A, any teams that
like I said a minute ago, 2A has a number. It's really kind of loaded. You got down south East Marion with Caleb Rawls, St. Patrick with Nick Crass, and Bay Springs is like 16 or 17 and over there. All 3 of them are going to be really, really good. Up north, of course, you got New Sight up there. There's only lost a couple of games on the year. The 2A ranks, I wouldn't count out North Forest. They actually beat St. Patrick last week, but St. Patrick beat them today in the region semis. So St. Patrick's going to be a home team next week, and they're probably playing East Marion Friday night for the region championship. But I really think 2A has a handful of really good teams that are, good teams that can really, you can really have some interesting battles when you get down to the Coliseum, that Final Four, and maybe even if somebody ends up running into each other. I'll say this: never count out Oklahoma County. I don't, I knew they didn't have a lot coming back. I didn't rank them preseason. Brandon has been riding with them all year. They're like 7-2, 9-2, or something like that. They finished second in the region, the north side. But you don't ever want to count them out either.
I thought they canceled sports there this year.
Tacoma Aggie.
Okay, I got you. I forgot it's two of them.
Yeah, but you ever want to count them out? I'll tell you another team that's been going under the radar and have a great record. Winona. They're in three, not two. But I'm gonna jump back to 3A. Winona's another team that's gonna be up north that I tell people to look out. North 3A is gonna be pretty competitive. But in 2A, I think the South is gonna be pretty competitive. Like I said, Bay Springs, North Forest, St. Patrick's, East Marion. You got around here, you got St. Joe and Pisgah have both been pretty good. They both been had some solid seasons. So 2A is shaping up to be be an interesting division. In 1A, you start you started with Ingomar, and you don't count out Bakersville. And it's after that, you just kind of see who they take so many losses to upper level teams, because they have to play upper level teams to make out the schedules. But when they get back in the division, you don't always know who's going to be good in 1A. But I would definitely say Ingomar is the favorite in 1A. They've got to be the favorite. They've been pretty strong all year, played a pretty good schedule, and they've proven that they can play, with teams bigger than them, and so they definitely got to be the favorite in 1A.
T Webb, you got anything to add on that? The 2As in up north?
Nah, he pretty much touched them. I think New Sight's been really good. I know they've been kind of blowing guys out. So New Sight is going to be there, of course. And then Ingomar for me as well. I don't know too many 1A schools, but I know Ingomar, like you said, they're one of the teams that put their stats and stuff out all the time. So they look pretty dominant, even like watching the film like Zach Sugars, Aiden Johnson, Tyson Smitty. So I think they have a good core, and they should win it again, in my opinion.
Right. As we get ready to wrap up, as we get ready to get the last geek in, we've been going. It's been like, man, it's been great. We combined it, and man, it seemed like we just got started. I look at the time, like, ooh, it's 8:52. When you start talking hoops, it's like, man, you just can get going. So go ahead and let's. I want to just, before we go into the last words, I want to remind everybody that's watching, we're going to have a Talking Hoops in the SIP showcase on March 27th. That's going to be boys and girls at MRA, and it's basically we're going to have a seniors game, a 23 versus 23, a 22 versus 22, and a 24 and 25 combination game, girls and boys. So I think that's going to be very good. Give kids an opportunity, that there's going to be the Mississippi, Alabama, the North-South game. So we're having our own version of it, and giving, kids an opportunity to be showcased. So just look for more information on that on Twitter and different things like that. So let's go through the last geek. We'll start with you, Cord, go up to T Webb, Easy, and then Shoes, and then we'll close it out.
My last geek is just, just everybody stay safe. Hopefully that these teams can get through the state championship, and there won't be no crazy COVID situations, and everybody just be able to compete and make the best team win. That's my last geek.
Oh, it's my turn.
Breaking down.
You breaking up. You're freezing.
That's what that was my.
All we see is your hand on your head.
Come out who can really see some new blood in there as well. But like
T-Well,
Cord has
so start over. We couldn't.
What's up?
Go ahead and start over. We didn't hear nothing.
Hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh, okay, my bad. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh.
Okay. I was saying I was late because I was actually in the gym talking hoops with my boy over at Columbus, so that's why I was late. But like I was just saying, I think the big dogs are gonna come out in the playoffs when the lights are the brightest. That's just my opinion. I think the good players, when the stakes are high, I think they come and perform. So we can expect the big dogs to come out and try to make it to the championship. And I also think this year we might see some dark horses as well. Just looking at the landscape around the state, how guys have been slipping up. So some teams haven't been consistent, and some of the good teams have. So I think we're gonna have some new guys to probably make a run at the Coliseum this year as well. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Like I predicted blowouts at the Rumble, so I could be wrong, but that's just what I feel this year. And like Cord has said, I just hope everybody can stay safe so you don't have to cancel your season this late in the game. Because if you do have to if you do have to miss for COVID, you're gonna have to forfeit. So this late, hopefully the coaches and the administration can just put the basketball players away from everybody else at schools that going to school so they can hoop.
Yeah, just like we said earlier, and like you said, T-Web, I think this particular year it's anybody's championship for the most part, because you could be drawing a matchup against a top team and they get COVID and you advance. So like I say, it could be very interesting over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll get to see the best teams play. I am really, really glad that they're getting things back at the Coliseum. I wasn't really I wasn't a fan of kind of how they did it. I like the Mississippi. I mean, I get the Mississippi Valley State thing and Ole Miss and some of the stuff, but to me, those games just didn't have the same feel as the Coliseum. I'm glad we're getting everything back to Jackson. But beyond that, that's pretty much my last geek of the night, man. It's been fun. It's been cool. Glad to have all of us here. And as EV said, man, let's look forward to this showcase on the 27th of March. And that's pretty much all I got. I'll pass it to the legend Lavelle Shoes Johnson.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say a lot of the same stuff you guys said. I'm excited for this time of the year. I want to see which star is gonna shine. Lante, you said star shine, gonna step up. I want to see which ones really are stars. I want to see who's gonna step up and lead their team. Now and step up with when the lights get brightest. I'm ready for it. We haven't even talked a lot about the academy playoffs, but we got some good teams over there and some interesting play going on over there too. I may go over to Silver Bay tomorrow night and watch some academy games. Like I say, I'm just excited, just like everybody else. I'm just hoping that the Lord's will be met, that we get a chance to navigate a COVID-free playoffs. And with all of these kids get a chance to go out, giving their best effort, and we get a chance to watch the best teams play each other. That's what we really want to see. We want to see the best versus the best. And hopefully we will get a chance to see that. Everybody get a chance to give their best effort.
Well, I appreciate you guys, man. I like this little format. I know we sometimes do girls and boys separately, but I kind of like, us coming together every now and then like we did today. And I really enjoyed all of the takes. I really enjoyed talking ball with you guys. Did
y'all see me tweet the little geeker? Did y'all see me get a little geeker his tweet out last week, about a week ago, man?
Yeah, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Shoes.
Hey, at first I had missed it. At first I missed it because I was like, dang, that was EB son. So I missed it at first because I seen it. And when I see it, I just retweeted automatically. So when I actually went back and read, I was like, oh, that's EB Junior. Okay, I got you.
And let me just say that, let me say this, Shoes, because Shoes and I, man, it's just so enjoyable those nights with me and Shoes on the rec league games, and we're not having to look at EV. So I'm so glad JPS has been having him consumed, so I don't have to look at his ugly face on them nights. And I've been enjoying your family. You got a beautiful family, man. I just let you know you got a beautiful wife and kids. Man, they some good people. I've been enjoying not seeing you a lot, but been enjoying your son too. So he's making some strides, man.
Yeah, and we appreciate you, Eddie, for the league. And because it's good. It's getting a lot of kids who don't have, to get a feel, get their feet wet, see if they are going to be players one day. And, one day, it's going to be, you almost can call it a late bloomer league, because some kids, are going to get their start there and eventually become late bloomers if they grow and different things like that. But I also like to invite everybody, continue to, I appreciate all the likes and shares and subscribers. We have done since we first started, man, it's been a blessing from God. We have gone up to now over 1,500 subscribers. And, that is a blessing. Let's try to go ahead and knock out 2,000. I mean, we're here now. We halfway done. So we appreciate that. The Geeky Report podcast will be at some middle school tomorrow. I don't know. But Friday night, we will be at Provine High School for the girls game, Vicksburg versus Provine for the championship there, the 5A championship district. And then the big one. Like, that's going to be a big game. I can't wait to see it. Vicksburg versus Callaway. That's going to be a huge.
That's Friday night.
That's Friday night.
Hey, what's up? I'll be in time.
Hey, look,
can we get in?
Put me on the VIP list. I'm there, and if you want me to go on, hey, I'll go on. I'll be your color guy if Richard ain't there. Put me down for that one, man.
Yeah, we don't. I know Richard's going to be there. I've had several, but yeah, we'll try to. We will definitely talk about that. But I know the crew, the 3-man crew with myself, Victor, not myself, Richard, and the Chuckster, Alfred Charles Wansley will be on the crew that night. So for Kadarius Jones, T. Webb, the easy one, Eddie Young, Lavelle Shoes, I'm Eric Vaughn, aka EV the Geeker, and remember, I lay you.